Congratulations, Roger, on your match against Tsonga today. Earlier this morning, local time here. Um, Glad you got past. I'm really excited, but I'm in a public place again, so I'll probably seem very subdued. But I'm so glad that you are on your way to the semifinals, and it's your 10th consecutive semifinal at the Australian Open. So that's 10 years of semifinals, which is congratulations. That's terrific. As you go into the semifinals against Murray, pretty much you're going to be going up against the greatest two returners in the game for the rest of this tournament, let's just say. But for now, just think about Murray. I think what everybody's looking at, since she's been the one who's been in the greatest form throughout the entire tournament, per the media, per all of the feedback in tennis world, just what people can see in general is that, your serve's been on, your game's been really crisp. But I think what'll be happening is, as with Tsonga, you'll have Tsonga, Murray, Djokovic will all be kind of looking, they all, have been looking at what's been sort of working against you. Now, lesser players, all due respect using that terminology, but the lesser players who have been sending you big serves and things like that, I think these guys who are left have been looking at that and seeing that to use it's worked to a certain extent. Unfortunately, the less talented players have been able to close out the deal. You've still been able to secure the match, but they've been able to get a lot of points off of you through really big serves and just really playing aggressively. So definitely, I think what it calls for is to look at the Tsonga match, I think, is a really big indicator, and you just want to, I would think, be careful now, be very economical, be very frugal about opening up the door to the points, to other players being able to get points, because the game is just a few points in between you and the other guy. Like, as far as you and Tsonga are concerned, I think you won the match by securing 5 points. However, when I look at the highlights, there were about 4 times where you hit drop shots that were completely readable or completely unsuccessful, or took a number of plays and ended up in no success. So I look at that as being like 4 points, and I think that it's really important to, like, as you go and you start to most likely deal with 2 of the best returners in the game, that you become more economical in choosing the type of points, choosing between the type of points that leave the door open for a player to come up and create a passing shot, or to just take and really decide to put away the ball. Like, I was talked about this in my videos for months, and I still kind of see you playing those shots, and sometimes they work out. It's like you hit the drop shot and then you rush up to the net and you really try to play, but play it out, and it's kind of like maybe between, I don't know, there's like this gray shade area where it's like between 40 and 60% of the time, I guess you could say, it's a success, and then maybe 50%, let's just say 50-50. It could go either way with the drop shot. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And my question is this: do you really want to gamble with losing 1, 2, 3, or 4 points in the highest realm of tennis, where the highest competitors are, where a match is won by just a few points going either way, or so something for you, I think, from me to you to see, to really, really think about being economical and frugal on those drop shots. You know, like if you know you're gonna hit a drop shot, you gotta make sure you're gonna do it in a way that's gonna really, truly, honestly put it away. You can't, you know, at one point in the highlights, like you were at the baseline and you made a decision, like instead of, for me, like instead of just putting the ball away, and maybe you just chose drop shot in order to conserve energy. I don't know if maybe your arm was tired or you just, I don't know what it was, but I didn't understand that choice from so far away from the net, that where, you know, the opponent could completely read what you were doing and have ample amount of time to get up at the net and just completely neutralize that shot. So that was about a good 4 times. Now, if you imagine you only won about 5 points on Tsonga in order to secure the entire match. Tsonga himself has 61 errors, so he wasn't unforced errors. He wasn't doing himself any favors. You have 47 unforced errors. Now, that's the only place that Tsonga really went wrong in this entire match. So if Tsonga's doing well, you can imagine that Murray's looking at the way that Tsonga was serving, Murray's looking at the way that Raonic was serving, and seeing all of these winners, aces, 20 aces for Tsonga, and I think it was 19 aces for Raonic. And then 6 aces for Federer. So if I were your coach, like I'm looking at these numbers, though you look fantastic and good out there, there's always room for improvement. I think there's always room for what some people might consider micro analytics, but I don't really think so. So this is what I look at your game. The fact that you were able to pull this match out shows that you have there's just the Federer. There's just a quiet brilliance. There's a quiet talent there. There's a certain resilience in the talent that will tide you. I don't want to say tide you over, but that will secure the win. But for the most part, this match, if I were looking at this as your coach, keeping in mind that the idea is always to win, always to close any loopholes for anyone else to win, always to have all of your I's dotted and T's crossed, but at the same time not making it seem like tennis should be this robotic, mechanical, really boring, clinical, super clinical type of activity for you. But I'm looking at general stats. So Tsonga on his first serve is 67%. You had 61% of aces. Tsonga had were 20. You had 6 aces. So right then and there, I'm looking at why was Tsonga able to get 20 aces, and it brings me back to, I'm sure, the match Tsonga was watching the other night against Raonic. You were actually standing at the baseline and did not ever back up. Now, I've always seen Rafa back up from the baseline, like give a little bit of space with these big guys. It's something that Brad Gilbert and Pat McEnroe also were talking about, was that they just are saying, I don't know why Federer, he's really was adamant about staying at the baseline. I think they even use that term, that exact wording, but they said, if he just back up a little, he'd be able to give himself a chance to return a lot more of Raonic's serves, heavy serves. But you stay at the baseline, and it's funny that you actually played Tsonga, because I talked about in my video months and months ago, probably around Madrid, that in the New Yorker article, I think when you were out of Madrid, there was someone from the New Yorker magazine who interviewed you, and they also interviewed Tsonga with regard to you, and Tsonga said, he said a few things about you, but one thing he said that stood out for me is that you like to stay at the baseline. You never move behind the baseline. You stay right there. And one of the things I had said in response to reading that was that be aware of people noticing your unwillingness, trying to capitalize on your unwillingness to change or your willingness to keep certain things, your style static, and that's what I think of. Tsonga's also able to probably capitalize off of as well, is that you just stay right at the baseline, like you don't move back to give yourself any space. And I could kind of see some of the reasoning behind it, because you don't know where the serve's going to go, and you kind of want to be right there in case the serve is maybe like a slice serve or whatever. I get it, but I think you can handle it. So Brad Gilbert was saying that, one of the and I might be putting just a little bit of words into the mouth of Brad Gilbert and Pat McEnroe right now by saying this. One of the reasons why Murray and Joker are one of the two of the best returners in the entire game of tennis is that they do move away from the game, move behind that baseline a little bit. So as you move on to deal with these two people who are great returners and they're also not bad servers, you may want to really, really consider that, take a real hard look at that, especially that drop shot thing. I don't think, you want this trophy, you can totally get it. The way you're playing is very crisp. You're all there. I know that you can absolutely do this and get through these guys, but and they know it too. So they're going to be trying to do things that other people had made effective. And the only difference is that the lesser players who were effective with the serve on you, you were able to get past because you're just plain old better talented than them. And you're talented than everyone in the game, in my opinion. We're totally, and it shows in a lot of ways. But you have guys who they make a whole bunch of different adjustments, and they also take advantage of the amount of power that they have. They can exploit a whole bunch of different little things to make it difficult for you to seal the win. So that's where I'm coming from. So anyway, getting back to you and Tsonga. So Tsonga has 66 winners and you have 49 winners. Now, for me, this says there were some issues that need to be some cleanup maybe. And it's not to say that your game wasn't tight, but some even more tightening, more tweaking. Because 66 winners to 49 means that you were possibly out of place, or you had a lot of open looks. I mean, it could mean a lot of different things, but it definitely meant something. There was some doors open there, and altogether I read you guys both came to net over 100 times, and you at net though you were 42 for 58. I really don't think that's a bad stat. I mean, you could always increase it if you want, but I don't think that's a bad stat. The only other thing I see that's really problematic, that's really indicating some real advantages in his game toward as far as on yours is the break points, the ratio of break points is to yours. His was 5 of 9, which really ain't bad at all, and yours were 4 of 18. And as your coach, that number, I'd be looking at that and going, what's up with that? Especially when you have some, let's just say roughly, I don't know, maybe I think you have 14 less unforced errors than he did. He has 61 unforced errors, and you still were unable. You converted 4 4 out of 18 break points. I find there's some room for improvement or tweaking something in there, and if you don't have to look at that today in the Australian Open because you already passed him, it's worth taking a very hard look at what happened in this match. For future reference, because everybody's going to be watching it and utilizing anything that they felt worked against you. And it's nothing to panic about, of course, because in the end, people could do all of this stuff to you, you still end up pulling out the win. And even if you end up not necessarily pulling out the win, somebody's coming out of it injured who's on the other side of the court, or a strain, or there's always something when you play against Roger Federer. But they're not coming out at scot-free in any way, feeling very confident about playing against you, feeling that they could always win against you. But again, the play of the net has to be for the put away. I mean, I wouldn't, honestly, Roger Media, I wouldn't play around with these drop shots unless you know you're going to be able to put them away. Because with people like Murray and then like Djokovic, like this Australian Open semifinals and finals, this is the real deal. And there's no time, there's no space, there's not one space for any kind of open door play, any type of shot that's going to leave like this possible really wide open door for any other player to convert it into something, into a point that they consume. So I appeal to you, really think about this drop shot thing. I'm going to list the link to the highlights, and there's just a couple of plays on there. I just point it out so you can take a look at them and see kind of what I'm talking about. Yeah, like I said, you lost probably about 4 points playing around, with that drop shot thing. And Tsonga was able to rush up there, neutralize it, hit a passing shot. And then there was even one point in time where you actually hit the drop shot, he got up there, he returned the ball, I think you hit it back, and then your whole body language got negative, like, oops, I caught out there, like, this whole side of the court is open, am I going to get it? And your body was just like, kind of like that, and you don't want to, I hate to, like, be in these videos saying, oh, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, like, it's kind of giving off the, sort of maybe indirectly giving off an impression that I'm like, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, and it's not that, it's just, as far as improvement is concerned and stuff like that, but if you're, like, caught out there, then people are starting to go, oh, his decision-making at the net, or whatever. Although you have great decision-making and you're very well respected and trusted, to be dangerous as far as your decision-making is concerned. Very good decision-making, but I'm just saying, it does indirectly give little psychological knots to the opponent. So really think about that drop shot thing. So I've been talking about this for months, Roger, and I still see you doing it, and just like you do it and then you're like, okay, well, I'm at the net, and like I said, it's not something that works out 70-30 or 80-20 in my opinion. It just seems like the drop shot thing seems like a 50-50 type thing. And again, do you want to really play footsie with points that you could just slam away with a forehand or whatever? Like forehand winner instead of just hitting a drop shot. Now, I don't know if that's a way of you, like I said, resting yourself a little bit, but you know what to do and figure it out. But I'm just telling you, the drop shot thing is like points in this level of play where 1 or 2 points could determine anything. Like, I just don't think that there's space to be taking so many chances with that type of deal. Especially with these two elite players who are like some of the best returners in the game. Yeah. So with Tsonga, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, when I look at these stats, for me, it looks like in a lot of cases that, you were operating sort of in a match that he was like dictating in a lot of ways, but at the end of the day it doesn't matter because you won. But if you manage to pull out a match where somebody has 6% percentage of 6% higher than you on their first serve, they've got 14 more aces than you, they've got 2 less double faults than you, they've got looks like 27 more winners. I'm doing like lazy math right now. I think it's 17 more winners than you. And then the break point, if I was Tsonga's coach, like, dude, the freaking break point conversion, 5 out of 9 and a 5-setter, that ain't bad, in my opinion. That ain't bad. That's damn freaking good. But, I'm looking at this 5 of 9. It's almost kind of like, this is almost too good. Against a Roger Federer, against an elite player, as your coach, I'd be like, okay, Roger, we need to, something went wrong here. This 5 of 9, that's too much to be getting off of a Roger Federer, even of a 5-setter match. This is me talking as your coach. But talking as Tsonga's coach, I'd be like, I can't ask for more. 5 of 9. Only thing I could ask for is 6 of 9 or 7 of 9. And then versus 4 of 18, like, you weren't able to get much off of him or create much for whatever reason. I think these are important things to really look at what happened. Where did errors feed into this? Where did maybe some decision making feed into this? And figure that out, close it out, because boring as that may seem, this is where the truth of where the improvement or where the tweaks need to be right here. All of the data and information are right in these numbers. His break points, for whatever reason, he was able to convert break points easily with you, though he has 61 unforced errors. And again, like 14 more unforced errors than you. Now you hit 49 winners and have 47 unforced errors. And then again, at net you were 42 of 58, which I think is pretty good. But it's good, going into these you're gonna go all the way to the finals. I know you are, but going to semifinals, I know, going to semifinals and closing that out. Don't play. Don't leave anything open for any type of, return that somebody doesn't have to kill themselves to make happen. Like, don't give away easy points by doing the drop shot thing. I think really think about that. So, I know I've said my piece, and again, consider moving back off that baseline, because everyone's noticing, and everyone's sort of, I feel like people, it's good sign is with Tsonga. I think everybody looked at that Raonic match. Everyone heard how great you were playing. You're kicking people out three sets. Doing really well, looking extremely crisp. And now, people are trying to use some of the same techniques on you, I think. And except these are the elite players, which you really can't afford to have them taking on a whole bunch of, techniques where they could exploit any openings in your game or anything that might wear on your game. So consider moving back from the baseline. Consider really take a hard consideration, even if you feel like for whatever reason it's not your style, you don't feel comfortable with it. Try it some of the time. Like, even if it's sort of against what. I'm sure you have a really good reason as to why you don't do that, but just know that 20 aces as opposed to 6. 20 aces for Tsonga opposed to 6 for you. It's 6 aces are still good, but I mean, what was he doing? Was he standing back from the baseline? Like, what was he doing that he was able to return so much get his racket on so much of so many of your serves when you are serving well, and I think your serve is the strongest serve considered throughout the tournament so far. So you gotta really look at that and go, okay, you know, what's up? And again, being careful not to double fault, obviously, you know the obvious stuff. Just putting in that extra level of concentration on the serve, on the opponent's serve, taking a breath and releasing any kind of stagnant intensity that comes from all this concentration, like, and resetting yourself and focusing again. But, you know, you've been doing really well. I have to say, I'm so proud of you, like, as far as your mental tenacity, mental resilience, and you will absolutely need this more than ever as you go into these matches, like with, you know, a more confident Murray, but still a confused Murray, because you're gonna get past him, because you're gonna play all of your cards right, even take the ball early, which I think is very effective against Murray, as far as I can tell. At least, yeah. And take it early. That's my thing. Take it early. Trust yourself. Put it away. Make sure you put it away. Don't hesitate. Just follow through and know what you can achieve. Let me see what else. Yeah, trim the fat. Really start trimming the fat, and you see how close the match was with Tsonga again. Trim the fat with the drop shot, trim the fat with any, you know, hitting the ball back to a player, you know, take that extra moment if you can, to raise your ratio of hitting it away from the player, you know. There's a couple times where I saw you playing in the highlights against Tsonga where it really seemed like you had the choice to hit it in another direction, but, you know, you hit it back to Tsonga. And, yeah. Other than that, I can't really say, you know, it seems like I've had a really critical video here, but I can tell you, like, you're playing really great tennis. I mean, amazing tennis. You're looking great. You know, the Tsonga thing, I think, is a great indicator of how you really want to have all the answers to create the 2013 year that you want. Because, you know, you've got tons of guys who are really coming into their own now. You kind of had it with Djokovic 2 years ago, and then you're kind of now having it with Murray ever since Rafa stepped out. Murray's kind of been able to come into his own with the coach. And then maybe perhaps that influenced Tsonga to get a coach last year. Now you have Tsonga coming into his own. And see, these guys have been on tour. You know, it took them a while where they spent time. They spent a couple of, you know, rotational years of making it just to the semifinals and getting knocked out, making it to the semifinals and getting knocked out, and then being in these Masters, 1,000 Masters and all of that, and then playing against a Roger Federer and a Rafael Nadal who always makes it to the finals, and being able to do relatively well, consistently, staying on tour and stuff, and doing relatively well against a Roger Federer, against a Rafael Nadal, against Djokovic. And you see a pattern between the progress that it takes mentally for the guys, I guess, in the top 5 and 10, like where they start popping or where they start blooming. And that's what's happening with, I believe, Tsonga now in this moment with his new coach and with his very successful game against you. He's coming into his own now. He's starting to believe that he can win. You're going to see a whole different Tsonga, as you probably already know, through this season. And there's going to be a complete revolution with Tsonga if he stays on the right track, on the right path, and doesn't lose focus, which is what Tsonga can do. He doesn't take himself seriously. He's gonna end up being in the top 3 eventually. most likely, if anybody, he'll be knocking out Opie Murray, in my opinion. Let's see. Oh yeah, my point is that, it takes these guys like a couple of years of just the constant losing, getting past the nerves, understanding for a long time what it means to be on the wrong side of the wind, kind of getting into the feel of, the run of the mill, usually losing to Roger, usually losing to Rafael Nadal, losing, and then the mental stuff is out of the way, and now they start just sort of playing, and then they get this coach behind them who gives them some faith to do some stuff, and then they get more faith, and then they really see, hey, I can really make be effective when I'm just going for it. Like Tsonga got out there and went for it. Next time he'll cut down on those errors. It's 61. Unforced errors. So I'm just saying, you have a lot of players who are blooming now. You know what I mean? You have Murray who's bloomed. You have Tsonga who's now coming into blooming. You have a little bit of a Del Potro, just a little bit. I still think he's a little bit undermotivated. You might have a Federer. Federer is older. And even though he made some real negative comments the other day on his own abilities, it's like crazy. It's like, what is wrong with you, Federer? He was just so adamant. No, I cannot beat those top guys. I cannot do it. It takes a lot. I'm not there yet. No. Reporters are trying to tell you can do it and how well you've been doing it. You're like, no. Listen, I said no. I cannot do it. Those guys are in a total another realm for me. It takes a lot of stuff to beat those guys. I was like, whatever, Federer. Ew. Not that he was disgusting, but ew, those are terrible affirmations. It's like terrible mental affirmations. Check it off. Anyway, I'm going into half an hour. Good luck. So proud of you. Like I said before, I know this video probably sounds like a lot of nitpicking and very critical, but no, it's just in the interest of tweaking. And I have no doubt that that trophy has your name on it. Australian Open 2003, Roger Federer. You can absolutely do this. But now comes the time you have to realize other people know what you can do. They know you've been playing well, and they're going to be desperate and do anything that works. So they're watching all of your matches, and they're going to take what sort of worked against you and use it against you. So you need to be aware of that. Serving, consider moving back to the baseline once again. The drop shot, that's leaving the door open to losing some points, in my opinion. And at this point in time, you cannot afford to be losing 3 and 4 points in a match. As your coach, I would tell you that. I'm not telling you to play safe. I'm not telling you to play reserve or anything. I'm telling you, the drop shot is not serving you. It's a 50-50 thing. And I think you don't do it unless you absolutely, positively know that drop shot's going to work. And a lot of times you can't really know. So, unless you want, playing against the best 2 returners once again in the game, you don't want to mess with all of that. So anyway, good luck, play hard, do what you do, and you'll pull this out against Murray. He'll put up a damn fight or whatever, but I think the strongest thing too is your mental tolerance and tenacity. That I have to give you big fat kudos for. You're doing really well. And I will say one thing. Djokovic said, I think it was on Facebook a couple, 3-4 weeks ago I saw, and he said, remember the tougher and more agonizing the match, I guess he said, the larger the glory. It's so wrong what I'm saying. I mean, the meaning is right, but it's not exactly what he said. It was much nicer the way he said it. But he's so right, That's why he's always ripping off his shirt after these 5-hour matches. But, you're a better player than him. You're a better player than Murray. You can get past these guys, but you got to be 100%, willing to change and don't be routine Roger Federer, because they know what you like to play, and they know what you don't like to change, and they will capitalize off of what you do not want. They know, Roger doesn't like to change this and that, and they'll capitalize off of your unwillingness to make certain adjustments. So, move out of comfort zone, make with certain things, make adjustments, and close those loopholes, and you will find that trophy in your hands. See you later. Congratulations, my friend. Once again, I'm so super proud of you. Take care and good luck.